Hi guys. So, why have I decided to have a vasectomy? Well, I should say why have we decided, because it is a decision that Natasha and I arrived at mutually. Well, there are many reasons, so we thought we'd do a video exploring some of them. Before we do, just like to point out that the intention behind this video is not to offend anyone who already has children. We know there are many wonderful reasons to have children. Rather, it is simply to share our personal reasons for deciding not to have children and to offer some different perspectives to those considering whether or not to have a family. What's wrong with the female contraceptive pill? It disrupts the natural hormone cycle of a woman's body, which is never a good thing, and causes a myriad of problems. The same pharmaceutical companies that manufacture the female contraceptive pill are often also chemical companies like Bayer, for example, who make the brand Levlin ED that Natasha took for 10 years. Bayer manufactured the deadly gases used by the Nazis in the gas chambers to exterminate the Jews during the Second World War, and now produce genetically modified seeds, as well as a systemic pesticide responsible for the colony collapse disorder of the bees. Who in their right mind would put something into their body made by such a company? Oh, and of course, like all pharmaceuticals, the pill is tested on animals, and all the sugar pills contain lactose, which is the sugar from cow's milk. What's wrong with condoms? Firstly, most condoms are not vegan. That's right, some latex condoms contain casein, which is a product made from curdled milk, and some also contain milk powder. Whilst there are some vegan condoms, we can't always guarantee that we'll be living somewhere where we'll have access to them. Secondly, most condoms end up in landfill and, depending on what they're made from, can take years to break down, if at all. Thirdly, condoms can break, which would then mean Natasha taking a morning after pill, essentially a stronger dose of the regular contraceptive pill, again disruptive to her natural hormones and made by the chemical companies like Bayer. Isn't it about time that men started taking responsibility for contraception rather than always leaving it to women? Unfortunately, children are extremely expensive to raise in this monetary system, especially in a Western country like Australia. In fact, some estimates say it costs upwards of $250,000 to raise a child to the age of 18. That puts enormous financial pressure on parents and, far more often than not, forces them to choose work and careers primarily on the basis of what pays well as opposed to what they would actually choose to do in the absence of financial pressure. We worked in jobs and careers solely for the money for years until we discovered our life purpose, which is to help people help themselves and in turn help the animals and the environment. Now, we refuse to work in any capacity that is not aligned with our life purpose. And because our life purpose doesn't pay well, financially speaking, in this perverse system that rewards exactly the opposite behavior, we don't want to have the added financial pressure of providing for children in addition to ourselves. We want to have the flexibility and mobility to be able to go wherever we choose to or are needed whenever we want to. Of course, this is possible with children, however, it is not anywhere near as easy compared to not having children. It is also much more expensive and limiting to travel with children. When we look around, we also see the majority of people simply ticking or checking the boxes. What we mean by this is people simply going through society's prescribed life stages. For example, go to school, graduate, go to university, graduate, get a career, get married, buy a house, start a family, etc., etc., etc. The point being that most people do what they do because society expects it of them, rather than because they actually want to do it themselves. We ourselves were extremely good at ticking boxes. Thankfully, we realized at a rather young age that there must be more to life than just ticking society's boxes. So we decided to stop doing so, and that's when our lives really started to take off and open up. So our decision not to have children is yet another way of rejecting society's prescribed boxes. It is estimated that there are between 143 and 210 million orphans worldwide. From our perspective, it's difficult to justify bringing more children into the world when we can't even take care of those who already exist and don't have families. A few years ago, we spent 5 months volunteering at an orphanage in Thailand, and each time we would leave those baby orphans on the floor, our hearts would break. We actually inquired about applying to adopt 2 of the children from the orphanage, but the process was too difficult, and we were also counselled, and rightly so, that we were too young. The 150 billion animals we kill for food every year worldwide, the 1 billion people starving, and the absolutely decimated planet now facing the 6th mass extinction in cosmological history certainly don't need any more humans to be born, especially non-vegan ones. And it's not that we can't feed the 1 billion people starving, because we can. In fact, we currently grow enough grain to feed 10 to 15 billion people. However, you may be shocked to know that we feed half of it to livestock to fatten them so that we can kill and eat them. Rest assured, unlike the 1 billion starving people, the 150 billion animals we kill each year for food never miss a meal. What if the whole world were to become vegan overnight? Sure, we might consider having children then, but sadly this is obviously not going to happen. And so even if we were to raise our child or children vegan, we can't guarantee that they will live vegan for the rest of their lives in this largely non-vegan world. Moreover, animal agriculture is a ticking time bomb for life here on Earth. The oceans are dying in our time due to both acidification, caused by greenhouse gases largely from animal agriculture, and overfishing. It is predicted that at current rates of overfishing, there will be no fish left in the oceans by 2048. Given that oceans absorb up to 1/3 of human carbon dioxide emissions and produce 50% of all the oxygen we breathe, this means that if the world doesn't become vegan, no child alive today will live to see retirement age. It should be noted that although we tend to think of ourselves and act as the superior species here on Earth, the cold, hard truth is that nothing would benefit the planet more than if human beings disappeared. The animals, rivers, oceans, forests, land, air, and skies would all breathe one gigantic sigh of relief. If you watched the brilliant film Noah, you would recall that this was essentially the essence of the biblical tale. People with children often criticize people who choose not to have children as selfish. Yet, as everyone knows, raising children is a full-time job. And if we were to have children, it would be even more so in that we wouldn't send our children off to traditional schools to be educated by the system, but rather we would homeschool them. This would mean that we would have to focus all of our time and energy into raising and homeschooling just our child or children, and have no time or energy to help other people, the animals, or the environment. On the other hand, by choosing not to have children, we can spread our time and energy helping many people and animals as well as the environment, which we consider not selfish, but selfless. What is selfish, however, is IVF, when you consider the hundreds of millions of orphans, especially when the majority of women seeking IVF have difficulties conceiving naturally due to their unnatural and unnecessary diets of hormone-laden animal foods wreaking havoc with their own body's hormones, let alone the fact that IVF is tested on animals. Looking around the world today, we see many children having children. We mean this in 2 ways. Firstly, there are many teenagers who were only just children themselves having children. Secondly, there are many adults who are of a more normal parent age who are still in many ways children themselves emotionally. That is, their emotional intelligence is not yet developed sufficiently to have made the important connections and have answered the questions that really matter in life, such as, Why is the world the way it is? What is my life purpose? Who am I? And we have to ask ourselves, if we haven't yet made these connections and answered these questions, are we really fit and equipped to bring another life into this world? A wise friend of ours once put it beautifully when she said to us, "I decided long ago that if I was going to spend time raising anyone in this lifetime, it would be myself." So, these are just some of our reasons for choosing to have a vasectomy. The bottom line is, if we can't even take care of the people we already have, why on earth would we want to bring into the world anymore? So please share your views and perspectives in the comments section below. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll be posting a vasectomy vlog soon, so stay tuned for that. Please like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next video.